Vlog number 17, October 17th, 1708, day 7. So, in the previous day, day 6, it was very difficult for a lot of people, and it seemed as if the universe was judging almost everybody. Everybody seemed to be on edge. It was as if everybody was being shown all the things that were bad with them, and it felt like the universe was like condemning them or squeezing them out of all the sins and the lies and the deceptions they tell themselves. So how did this happen? Well, that's going to be the subject of this video as a sort of preview for my divination system. And that is the burning fire. What is the burning fire? It's also known as the fire of wisdom. And what it does is it essentially purifies the body, mind, and soul of anything that does not align to your highest good. So this has, from what I discovered, cycles and sub-cycles to it. And it is associated with the number 6, which seems odd because you figure, well, the elite like to use the number 6 for evil actions, right? And that's the evil side of 6 is condemnation, basically, being condemned, being taken over, or just being repressed perpetually. And the plus side of it is essentially purification and redemption. And it is definitely a time period where people are being judged for their actions. They are being judged for the power that they have, the intentions behind the power that they have, whether they're actually aligned with the greater good or if they just serve the self. They're being judged for the strength that they have, whether the strength that they show is actually authentic or if it's just a show of force for, let's say the ego. So, yes, it's a time that's not very pretty for a lot of people, and it's definitely something that people just very much fear. It's one of the things that people fear the most in the Creator, and that's His judgment. So, of course, on day 6s or sub-cycles of 6s, such as in someone's personal charts, it's definitely a number to keep an eye out on wherever it decides to appear. And it just so happens it was day 6 yesterday, and my day wasn't very good either. I had my own issues. Someone tried to cut me off driving, and let's just say that I had the right of way, and he was being recorded. I'm sorry, I shouldn't presume their gender. You're right, even though it looked like a guy, but whatever. What else happened? Work was not that great. So my HR manager ended up retiring, and it just so happened by coincidence I had talked to him the day previous about the guy I was training, and he couldn't understand English. And so I just talked to him saying, nobody's listening to me. I don't want to train this guy because he's not understanding my words. And some plans went to action. But then a day later he retires. Is this my fault? I don't know if that's like a weight I want on my belt. So, there's that. And just generally people just seemed like wanted to leave work. It was as if there was some shadowy funk over the place that was just like obfuscating their ability to see themselves and their goals and getting their goals done. And everybody was just leaving. So, and I got thrown onto my old line, which is the one I started at 11 years ago, supposedly, and at least in my mind, just to have the Creator show me, hey, you got to look at your foundations here, and perhaps you got to either purify what you got now or change your foundation to something better. So, all of this plays a part. I'm only just expressing some of the stuff that I went through over the course of yesterday. And it's really just important to remember that this fire Yes, it seems to clog the whole mind up. It clogs the cognition, it clogs up the logic, and it seems as though it's like there's some weird energetic force that's closing in around you. It's not really necessarily a demonic attack, although demonic attacks could be a part of it in order to try to condemn the soul, but there's a big difference between the demonic attack, as it was discussed in the previous video, and purification. Purification, the ego will scream its lungs out oftentimes, and it feels like someone, it feels like you're dying almost. And of course, my advice to that is just let it happen. Most of the time, we're stupid and we screw up and we just fill up our egos with, crap that's not aligned with higher good and our higher good. So it's better just to let it die, and eventually, you can reformulate another one that's hopefully better than the previous. So again, it's important just to keep in mind that just because this is happening doesn't mean the creator hates you or anything. This is just like a routine thing just to say, okay, kiddo, you're a little bit dirty here. I don't think you're quite self-conscious or aware of the fact that you're dirty. So let me help you clean up a bit. Just sit still. It's one of those moments where the kids don't want to really clean up themselves too much, or they want to be responsible for cleaning themselves up. But that's what we do with our kids, hopefully. So that's what happens there. It's on a more energetic level here, instead of just like on the physical child level thing. So yeah, that's essentially the burning fire. It's meant to help redeem the soul, redeem the sins that we may carry, and ultimately redeem the soul of the sins that it has. And part of that is essentially the burning fire, and it feels like a burning fire, which is why I say that. So it's annoying, but it is a price to pay for sins that may or may not have been committed consciously, let's say. Oftentimes it's done ignorantly, but the ones that are done consciously, from my experience, tend to hurt the most. So after a while, if people keep making the same mistakes, right, then they may notice that they may go through similar situations in life where they may go through similar crappy situations that make them feel like they're on fire on the inside. This is a big pointer that shows that somewhere down the line there's something being done that's sinful that needs to stop. And once that's stopped, those negative manifestations should cease. And the burning fire regarding that area should cease also, or at least diminish considerably. So that's another thing to be consciously aware of in your daily experiences with your manifestations, your own manifestations, co-creating with other people's manifestations. So yeah, that's part of the game. It's just keeping tabs on what could have been manifested on your own and trying to understand the negativity behind it, and just trying to realize, okay, what inside of myself made that, and what can I do to avoid being purified like that in the future, so I don't have to keep sitting like that. So that's part of the internal awakening and part of the journey here. And yeah, I think that's about it. I'm sure I'm probably missing something, but that is generally how it works. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and have a good day.